Ancient humans didn't just hide beneath the ground. Some of them built entire worlds underground. Not small caves, not simple shelters. We're talking about underground cities descending nearly 280 feet with tunnels, bedrooms, kitchens, storage rooms, wells, churches, animal pens, and hidden escape routes. And the strangest part, they lived there intentionally. Not for a few nights, not only during storms, for generations. Today, archaeologists continue to debate one unsettling question. What frightened ancient humans enough to abandon the surface of the earth? Because once you understand why people went underground, you'll never look at civilization the same way again. The most famous example is a place known as Derinkuyu underground city in modern-day Turkey. From the surface, it appears completely ordinary, but beneath the ground lies one of the most astonishing structures in human history, a hidden city carved directly into volcanic rock. It extends nearly 280 feet below the surface. At its height, researchers believe it may have sheltered more than 20,000 people, along with livestock, food storage, ventilation systems, water wells, schools, and religious chambers. And no one knows exactly who began building it. Think about that. Modern humans struggle to construct subway tunnels using machines, electricity, and advanced engineering software. Ancient people carved an entire underground civilization with nothing more than hand tools, in complete darkness, thousands of years ago. But here's the question almost nobody asks. Why underground? Why would people choose to live beneath millions of pounds of solid rock? The answer begins with fear. Because ancient life was anything but peaceful. Most people imagine the ancient world as open fields, small tribes around campfires, quiet villages. The reality was far harsher. For most of human history, life on the surface was incredibly dangerous. Raiders, empires, slavery, mass killings, predators, freezing winters, scorching summers, and worst of all, you could lose everything overnight. Ancient villages had almost no protection, no police, no emergency systems, no warning sirens. If an army appeared at sunrise, your entire settlement could disappear before nightfall. Underground cities changed that. An underground entrance could be hidden, a village could not. And this is where the story becomes even more fascinating. The entrances to places like Derinkuyu were remarkably small. Some were concealed beneath houses, others were disguised as wells or hidden behind stones. Invaders could walk directly over an underground city and never realize that thousands of people were living beneath their feet. Imagine the psychological advantage. The enemy arrives expecting a village. Instead, the village simply disappears. But surviving underground created an entirely different way of life. No sunlight, no open sky, no horizon, only torchlight, stone walls, and narrow tunnels winding deep into the darkness. Some corridors were so narrow that only one person could pass through at a time. That was completely intentional, because if invaders discovered the tunnels, a handful of defenders could hold back an entire army. Massive circular stone doors could also block passageways from the inside. Some weighed hundreds of pounds. Once they were sealed, forcing them open became nearly impossible. This wasn't just a shelter, it was psychological warfare. And the deeper archaeologists explored these underground cities, the stranger the story became. Because people weren't simply hiding underground for a short time, they created systems built for long-term survival. Ventilation shafts carried fresh air through multiple underground levels. Storage rooms were filled with grain and oil. Animal stables occupied the upper floors. There were even underground wineries. Think about how advanced that really is. Humans weren't just surviving below the surface, they were adapting to it, building an entirely separate world beneath the earth. Then researchers uncovered something even more surprising. Derinkuyu wasn't the only one. Across the Cappadocia region of Turkey, archaeologists have discovered hundreds of underground structures, some linked to tunnels stretching for miles, entire networks hidden beneath the landscape. Which raises a disturbing possibility. Ancient humans may have expected attacks so often that underground living became completely normal, not an emergency solution, normal life. Now, here's where most documentaries stop, but the real mystery goes even deeper. Because humans living underground wasn't unique to Turkey. In China, entire cave villages sheltered families for centuries. In Tunisia, underground homes protected people from the brutal desert heat. In Australia, modern residents of Coober Pedy still live underground to escape extreme temperatures. Again and again, humans discovered the same thing. The underground world is stable, safe, quiet, protected. Above ground, temperatures shift dramatically between day and night. Below the surface, they remain remarkably consistent, cool during summer, warm throughout winter. Even today, engineers use the same principle to design energy-efficient buildings. Ancient humans figured it out thousands of years earlier. But there may have been another reason people chose to disappear beneath the Earth, one far more unsettling: climate collapse. Roughly 12,800 years ago, Earth entered a sudden cooling period known as the Younger Dryas. Temperatures dropped dramatically, weather patterns shifted in extreme ways. Some researchers believe entire human populations were pushed to the edge of survival. Now imagine living through that without modern technology. No power grid, no supermarkets, no heating systems. A single failed harvest could mean the death of thousands. Underground environments protected food from sudden temperature changes, protected people from violent storms, protected water supplies. In many ways, underground cities functioned like enormous survival bunkers, long before bunkers ever existed. And humans may not have been the only species to understand this. Animals do it too. Foxes build dens underground, bears spend winters in caves, rodents create complex tunnel networks. Even insects construct entire civilizations beneath the soil. When danger increases, life moves underground. Humans simply took that idea further than any species before them. But life beneath the surface came with a cost. Darkness changes the human brain. Modern studies show that spending long periods without sunlight affects sleep cycles, hormone production, mood, and even perception. People isolated inside caves often lose their sense of time. Days begin to blur together. The mind starts creating its own rhythm. Now imagine ancient humans living like that for months. Children growing up underground. Families spending entire winters beneath the earth. Torchlight replacing sunlight. Some historians believe underground living may have shaped ancient myths about the underworld, spirits, and hidden realms beneath the earth. Because when humans spend enough time underground, the underground stops feeling temporary. It begins to feel sacred. And ancient cultures across the world became fascinated with what lay beneath the surface. The Greeks imagined Hades below the earth. The Norse believed dwarves forged legendary weapons underground. Mesoamerican civilizations built sacred caves for religious rituals. Again and again, the underground became linked with mystery, death, rebirth, and hidden knowledge. That same pattern appears almost everywhere humans lived, which suggests something fascinating. Maybe underground spaces changed human psychology itself. But here's where the story becomes even more fascinating. Because everything we've talked about so far, defense, climate, survival, that's only part of the picture. The real mystery runs deeper. Some underground cities were so advanced that they solved problems many surface settlements couldn't. Take ventilation, for example. One of Derinkuyu's main ventilation shafts extended more than 180 feet. Fresh air reached multiple underground levels. Without electricity, without machines, without modern engineering, only knowledge accumulated over generations. And the more archaeologists study these structures, the more sophisticated they appear. Some tunnels were carefully angled to improve airflow. Certain rooms naturally maintained stable temperatures for storing food. Water systems helped reduce the risk of contamination during long sieges. These weren't primitive hiding places. They were carefully engineered survival systems, built by people we often underestimate. That's the real lesson here. Modern people often imagine ancient humans as unintelligent, but ancient humans survived the ancient world demanded extraordinary adaptability. They understood landscapes, temperature, airflow, defense, psychology, community survival, and they built practical solutions using nothing more than stone, fire, and patience. Now think about modern humans for a moment. Most people today would struggle to survive even 3 days without electricity. Ancient humans built entire underground civilizations without it. That should humble all of us. But one mystery still remains. Why 280 feet underground? Why go that deep? The deeper you travel beneath the surface, the safer you become from dangers above. Temperatures become even more stable. Sound almost disappears. Visibility fades away. And most importantly, the deepest chambers become incredibly difficult to reach. An invading force might discover the upper tunnels, but the lower levels could remain completely hidden. In many ways, underground cities functioned like ancient submarines, invisible, self-contained, defensive, designed to survive whatever chaos unfolded on the surface. And throughout history, humans repeatedly returned underground whenever civilization became unstable, during wars, bombings, plagues, famines. Even in modern times, subway stations became shelters during World War II. Because deep down, humans still instinctively understand something our ancestors discovered thousands of years ago. The underground feels safe, protected, separate from the chaos above. But there's another layer of psychology that most people overlook. Living underground changes your relationship with time. Without sunlight, the natural day-night cycle begins to fade. Life becomes slower, more inward, more reflective. Ancient underground communities likely developed routines very different from those of people living on the surface. And in complete darkness, the human imagination becomes incredibly active. That's one reason caves contain some of the oldest artwork ever discovered. Places like Lascaux Cave and Chauvet Cave preserve paintings that are tens of thousands of years old. Think about that. Some of humanity's earliest masterpieces were created underground, not beneath the open sky, deep inside the darkness, with torchlight flickering across stone walls, as if humans have always been drawn beneath the earth. And maybe that instinct never truly disappeared. Even today, people remain fascinated by bunkers, tunnels, secret bases, and underground cities. Movies return to the same idea again and again: hidden civilizations beneath the earth, post-apocalyptic bunkers, subterranean survivors. Because somewhere deep within the human mind lies an ancient memory. When the surface becomes dangerous, go underground. And the strangest part is, scientists now believe there may still be undiscovered underground cities beneath Turkey today. Entire chapters of human history remain buried beneath layers of rock, waiting. Imagine what that means. How many people lived there? How many generations? How many stories disappeared beneath the earth forever? We usually think of history as castles, pyramids, and monuments reaching towards the sky. But some of humanity's greatest achievements were built in the opposite direction, downward, hidden from the world, protected from time. And maybe that's why underground cities feel so haunting today. They remind us that civilization is far more fragile than we'd like to believe. All it takes is enough fear, enough war, enough collapse, and humans return beneath the earth once again. Not because we want to, because we know how. For thousands of years, survival depended on adaptation, and ancient humans adapted better than almost anyone alive today. They turned stone into shelter, darkness into safety, and the underground into a civilization of its own. So the next time you switch on a light or walk through a heated building, remember this: your ancestors once survived beneath nearly 280 feet of solid rock, without electricity, without machines, without sunlight, and for them, the underground wasn't a place to fear, it was home.